Welcome to Mock the Mock, where I take a look at someone else's mock draft and I'm mocking, giving you my views, thoughts, and opinions. Got a fun one for you today. We're going to actually travel over to Athlon Sports, taking a look at Luke Easterling and his 3-round mock draft. Special thanks to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring today's video. Remember, when you sign up, use promo code Broshmo. More on them a little bit later. Let's go ahead and get this sucker started. With pick 1, the Tennessee Titans are going to go with Abdul Carter, edge out of Penn State. So, in my opinion, if you feel like there's a first-round quarterback in this class that's worth at least a top 20 pick, and you think that they have tools and upside, I think I'd be willing to take the swing. Again, it kind of depends on how cushy is Brian Callahan in his position there. Does he feel like, granted, it's not like he's making the decision there. It's, I assume, going to be a combination of him and the GM and whatnot. But you got to assume if the hot seat is hot, they got to make some sort of play towards quarterback. Or maybe they're sold on Will Levis. Probably not. But if you don't want to per se reach at the quarterback position, Abdul Carter might be the best player in this class. With just when thinking about Travis Hunter, you don't know exactly what he is. Is he going to be a corner? Is he going to be a wide receiver? So without that clarity, that kind of shoots Abdul Carter up. This is a team that does need pass rush. So interesting pick. Don't mind it. Let's move on. Cleveland Browns. They're going to go with Travis Hunter, wide receiver / corner out of Colorado. This is another spot where you could talk about quarterback, or you could talk about, if Abdul Carter is on the board, pairing him up with Myles Garrett. Yeah, sure. That sounds very alluring. Or you might have to replace Myles Garrett if he wants out and you have to trade him. So there again, a lot of scenarios that can happen. We'll figure it out together during the offseason draft process, free agency and whatnot. But Travis Hunter, I'm leaning that he's going to be a wide receiver for the most part, full-time, and maybe they sprinkle him in here and there on the defense, but I feel like that's a little complicated. It's a little bit easier knowing, hey, I got a few sets here as a wide receiver. You just really got to understand what route you're running and whatnot. When it comes to corner, man, golly, dude, you got to understand what everyone around you is doing. So I think it's a little tougher to be a full-time wide receiver and then split time at corner, rather than vice versa. So again, without that clarity, man, there's going to be a lot of questions when it comes to Travis Hunter. What is he going to do primarily in the NFL? Is he going to play both sides full time? Doubt it, but hey, never say never. You like the NFL draft. Matter of fact, you love the NFL draft, which means you're going to love my draft guide. If you want to know every player your team drafts or even signs as an undrafted free agent, then this is for you. My draft guide updates every day, and you'll be able to see those updates in real time as I add new evals and player backgrounds. It'll have analytics from this year and last year. It'll have the pro day and combine numbers. It'll even have my notes from the senior and Shrine Bowl. It's a one-time purchase of $30 via PayPal, Venmo, or the Cash App. You can check out the pinned comment or the description if you want to follow those links. And when you do purchase it, please be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. So I'm going to require your email. Don't make me hunt it down because I will hunt you down. I will find you and I'll make sure you get your money's worth. Anywho, thanks for supporting the channel. Yeah, we got the Giants. I imagine this is where the first quarterback comes off the board, and it is Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami, going to the New York Giants. Brian Daboll, and honestly, Joe Shane, probably on their last leg there in New York. People will be like, well, rookie quarterback, I mean, that's not going to save their jobs. It could honestly extend the leash because like Daboll has not been allotted to pick his guy. He showed up and he was tasked with Daniel Jones. And at least for me, I knew that I was confident that wasn't going to work out. So he actually gets to draft his guy per se, and maybe that'll give him the luxury to be like, okay, we'll give you a couple of years to develop him. But honestly, if they're going to keep him around, Cam Ward's going to have to show some signs in year one. And it doesn't necessarily mean you start him right away, but if he could show promise down the stretch, because I imagine the Giants aren't going to be in I imagine they're not going to be in the playoff race. But again, I thought that about Washington, and look at where they're at right now. But Cam Ward, man, is the more toolsy prospect, in my opinion. I imagine in this draft, we're going to see Shedeur Sanders go to the Raiders. But we got to get to pick 6 first. So let's go to pick 4. As we're going to have the New England Patriots take Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver out of New England, out of Arizona. Preferably, I would like to get a little bit more speed for this receiving core, but you don't have to do it with this pick. If you think Tetairoa could be a alpha X wide receiver, send it. This team needs pass catchers. It also needs offensive line help, but I think it's a reasonably all right offensive line free agent class, and you got a lot of money. I think you should spend in free agency. But Tetairoa McMillan's a good pickup here, man. He's a great size, built like a giraffe, can play the contested catch point. It's tough to bring down after the catch. I'm a fan. Pick 5, Jacksonville Jaguars are going to go with Mason Graham. Defensive line out of Michigan, defensive tackle. I'm always between the two Michigan prospects, Will Johnson, and I kind of lean with Will Johnson. I like the idea of pairing him up with Tyson Campbell as Mason Graham. It's like, okay, how many snaps is this guy really going to get in that rotation with Eric Armstead and Mason Smith? But you can't argue. I mean, Graham is a top 5 prospect in this class, so it's a good pick nonetheless. The Las Vegas Raiders. There it is. They're taking Shedeur Sanders. Oh, man. After Tom Brady and Mark Davis decide to hire Deion Sanders as the head coach, I imagine this is what's going to happen. No, not really. But Shedeur, I think there's a very safe floor. There's a very high floor with Shedeur Sanders, he could definitely outplay that. He certainly can. It's just he doesn't have the biggest arm. It is what it is. Isn't the end all be all. And he does need to work on his actual poise and presence in the pocket because, again, a lot of self-induced pressure and sacks. However, when it comes to his processor as a passer, it's phenomenal. It's great. So you do get a little consistency at the quarterback position. You just got to get better, in my opinion, better pocket presence, which with an offensive line that I think is trending in the right direction, I'm feeling good about that. New York Jets, they're going to go with Jalen Walker, edge/linebacker out of Georgia. I love the idea of Will Johnson here with Mason Graham off the board because DJ Reed's a free agent, man. Go get that guy next to Sauce. Aaron Glenn, they did just hire Aaron Glenn, so I imagine, dude, Aaron Glenn, yeah, have him draft a defensive back. He waited so long in Detroit for this team to draft a defensive back in the first round. But, I mean, you're adding more pass rush. Maybe it's hey, this is what we wanted in Hassan Reddick before, things got sticky with the contract situation. I think I still prefer the corner here, but again, that's kind of a preference. I think Jalen Walker's well within this, I think 7 to 15 range. Some people might be a little bit lower on him. Is what it is. Pick 8, Carolina Panthers. They take Will Johnson. I'm glad they jumped on him. I hate seeing Will Johnson fall past the top 8 picks. I think he's too talented for that. I get he was beat up this past year, but what he's shown when on the field has been dominant. I think he has the chance to be an elite shutdown corner in the NFL. And if they bring back J.C. Horn, which I do think he's a free agent here, don't quote me. He might not be. I mean, I could just check. I'm just gonna check. Better safe than sorry. J.C. Horn contract. All right, we're gonna head over to the cap, and oh no, they picked up a 5th-year option on him. So he is no longer, okay, they picked up the 5th-year option. So he's a free agent after 2025. Okay, so I stand corrected. Regardless, that's still sick. You get to pair him up with Will Johnson. And then maybe if J.C. Horn continues to struggle with injuries, because it's not like he's played a full season, in a while, then Will Johnson maybe gives you a way out of that if you don't want to pay him. Though he's a hell of a player, Horn went on the field. All right, before we get on to pick 9, let's give a shout out to our sponsor. It's Underdog Fantasy. If you go and download Underdog Fantasy and sign up using promo code BROSHMO, they will match your first deposit up to $1,000. It is the best place to play weekly best ball, or my favorite, higher or lower on player stats. It's not just the NFL. They do college football. I know that's over, but I'm just mentioning it. I'm a college football guy, but they do basketball, they do baseball, they do all kinds of sports, even down to esports. It's nuts. It's ludicrous. So if you want to get in on the action, then check out Underdog Fantasy. And if you do sign up, use the promo code BROSHMO. Not only does it help the channel, but it helps you, because with your first deposit, they'll match it over $1,000. But as always, play responsibly, play within your means. Let's go ahead. Let's get to pick 9 here, as we have the New Orleans Saints going with Shamar Stewart, edge-ish, out of Texas A&M. Oh, whoops. I clicked the wrong screen. Let me help you out, guys. There we go. Look at that. Doing it all on the fly. We'll do it live. Let me know if you know the reference in the comment section below. Anywho, he kind of feels like what the type of edge player that they've been trying to acquire the last couple of years, with picks like Peyton Turner, Isaiah Foskey, and it just hasn't worked out. And believe me, Shamar Stewart's gonna fly up boards just because it's 6'6", 290. He's hella athletic. The thing is, I don't know. It's not like he's athletic for his size. Is that going to translate on the edge full time in the NFL? I'm not very confident with that. I think I kind of like him as a 3-4 edge. To be fair, the Saints haven't hired a new head coach, so we don't know entirely what their defense is going to look like. But Shamar Stewart, he's a name that's going to be high up a lot of people's boards because of the potential and just the ridiculous tools. All right, pick 10, Chicago Bears, Josh Simmons, tackle out of Ohio State. And I get it, Bears fans. I like Braxton Jones, but I think they could move him. They are going to have to make a decision. They want to pay him. You could just move him and get good draft capital back in return. I mean, you let him walk and get compensatory picks, but I think you'd rather trade him, because I think he's a solid tackle in the NFL. You make this pick if you're not keeping Braxton Jones. That's the only way I see it. You're not picking a guard here at 10. You're just not. And if that's not the case, then you're either going tackle, or you're going to probably go with something on the trenches, whether at edge, interior. Bears are an interesting spot here, but this pick tells me trade Braxton Jones. Pick 11. The 49ers are going to go with Will Campbell, offensive tackle at LSU. I think you try this guy out at tackle. A lot of people, he's got mini arms. He's got to play guard, but he's 6'6" and he plays tall. I'd rather him not play guard. I just would rather it not. I'd rather, send it at tackle, see if it works, but he's very athletic, so it could work out. They could slot him in at left guard with Aaron Banks as a free agent and see how it goes. Or they could, what's the word I'm looking for? Develop him, mentor him to be the heir apparent to Trent Williams. I think regardless, Will Campbell might be the best offensive lineman in this class. I kind of like Kelvin Banks quite a bit. But Campbell, regardless of where he might play, I just think he's that good. Dallas Cowboys are going to go with Luther Burden III, wide receiver out of Mizzou. It's not Ashton Genty. Haha, that's the joke. Ashton Genty always goes at this pick for the Cowboys. I like them getting a receiver. Some people will make the argument, well, this is another guy in the slot. CD plays in the slot. CD bounces inside and outside. I think typically he plays. Doesn't he play more on the outside? I'm not confident about that. I feel like it's kind of like a 55-45 split, but top of my head, I couldn't tell you which way. So let's just Again, go ahead and confirm instead of just talking out of my butt. Okay, it was basically a 50-50 split. Okay, so you could get Luther Burden and have it be a 50-50 split. Because I think Burden can play on the outside, but he's a yak, dude. You're going to want to get the ball in his hands very quickly. 29 forced missed tackles this past year. Needs to develop as a route runner, but I love what he does in terms of the elusiveness, the suddenness to his game. Pick 13. It's my Miami Dolphins. Lucky number 13, I guess. Malachi Starks. I'm not going to talk too much about this pick just because this is the one a lot of people are making. Javon Holland's a free agent. So much Javon Holland hate too in the comment section. Like, yo, how you? Let me tell you, Dolphins fans. Secondary, it's a very volatile position. I know he wasn't that good this year, but the prior 3 years, he was pretty freaking great. Sign that dude to another contract. Do it. Don't play with this recency bias, especially in the secondary where it's very volatile. There's going to be there's good years, there's going to be bad years, there's going to be down years. So I get the idea of Malachi Starks. Holland, potential free agent. Even if they bring him back, you're looking at the other safety position. He's a very versatile piece in the defensive backfield in general with Starks. This is Anthony Weaver defense that he's a Mike McDonald disciple, and they like safeties. So I get it. Colts go Tyler Warren, another popular pick. I've kind of pled my case why I don't love this pick, and it's not that I don't love Tyler Warren. I'm just not very confident about the fit and how much of a difference-making pick this is for the Colts. Just because they didn't target their tight ends a ton, and granted, their tight ends aren't that good. That's why. But even still, it's not like Anthony Richardson throws the ball a lot. So again, I just got questions. Atlanta Falcons are going to go with Mikael Williams, edge out of Georgia. Falcons, they need edge players. So they get an edge player here. Very toolsy. I kind of like him better in this like mid to back half of the first round range because like I get it. His pass rush win rate is kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Tainted. Yeah, let's go with tainted. Tainted because he played both inside and outside. Granted, he played outside a majority of the time, but still, this is a guy that plays inside of the tackle about over 100 snaps. So you're not getting a true, what is he outside on the edge? He was hampered by a high ankle sprain. But still, given the tools, given the talent, the production hasn't quite met that. Met what his tools are, right? Right now, he's more potential than production. So you might need to develop him. You will need to develop him. It's not like he's a complete pass rusher by any means, but you know you're getting a 3-down player because of how good he is as a run defender. Falcons, they need pass rush, but hey, getting a guy that can also be a 3-down player ain't a bad option. Arizona Cardinals go with Kenneth Grant. Look at that. Typo. Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan, not Kentucky. Cardinals just need to address the defensive line. In my opinion, that's where this pick should be utilized. It's a very studded defensive line class in general. I think you should use multiple picks on the defensive line or the front seven in general if you are the Cardinals. Kenneth Grant, big bodied, big boy, got a lot of heft to him, but he moves really well, very explosive. So it gives them an element that I currently don't think they really have. Kind of becomes their, I imagine, like the Jordan Davis for Gannon's defense there. Pick 17. Looks like we're getting Derek Harmon. Derek Harmon going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Defense. This pick is defense. The Bengals, have they officially hired Al Golden? I'm not positive if they have, but they should go defense. It's really, this defense has been on the struggle bus the last couple of years. Some of that's injury. Some of that is, hey, the talent's just not there. You look at the defensive line specifically, and it's like, it's literally just Trey Hendrickson. Derek Harmon, I think he was the best pass rusher from the interior this season. He had like 55 pressures, 5 sacks, a win rate of 17.6%. That's insane. That's really good for an interior player. I like the pick. Pick 18, Seahawks go with Kelvin Banks, offensive lineman out of Texas. You could play him at guard, but I'd rather play Banks at tackle. I want to see what he could do at tackle. But some people peg him as an NFL guard, and that's fine. If you're the Seahawks, you're probably drafting him here to be a guard first, and then if injuries occur, see what he can do at tackle. Again, this is probably if Abraham Lucas goes down. So this one's going to be a popular pick, whether it's Banks, Donovan Jackson, or Armand Membu. There we go. Pick 19, James Pierce Jr. going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They need pass rush outside of Yaya Diaby. He is indeed pass rush. I think in my opinion, he should go higher than this. I think it'd be foolish to say I think he goes higher than this, just because you never know in the draft. Things happen, but I like Pierce a lot. He's still developing his body. He's young, but I thought he improved as a run defender. Pick 20. This is where is this going to be the new popular Ashton Genty spot? If you're not putting him there with the Broncos, then what? You're putting him there for the Broncos? Did I say Broncos twice? If you're not putting him there for the Cowboys, then you're going to put him there in the Broncos. So I'd like to see other landing spots. Maybe the Bears. Ooh, maybe. I don't know. What other landing spots? I'd have to look at it and think about it. But Broncos make sense. So Javonte Williams, he's a free agent. And then you got Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime. Yeah, it's starting to look like one of the more subpar running back rooms in all of football. Pick 21, Pittsburgh Steelers, Emeka Buka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Another popular pick here. I like Emeka Buka. I think I've kind of said my piece on this in multiple mock videos, but you just don't have this type of receiver who can affect the field on all 3 levels, being consistent chain mover. You just don't have that guy. And some people are like, well, I mean, what about freaking Roman Wilson? He'll come back healthy. He's still more of a vertical slot. At least that's what I pegged him as coming out of Michigan. So I like the pick here. Pick 22, Los Angeles Chargers take Talik Williams. Defensive tackle at Ohio State. I actually like this. I think they need to take some swings of the bat on the defensive interior. And Talik Williams, very high floor player who might have some pass rush upside, just hasn't put it together yet. Very good athlete, moves very well at that like 6'3", is close to 330. But you know you're getting one of the best run defenders in the draft. So I like it. I like the pick. All right, Green Bay Packers. They go Siobhan Revel, corner out of ECU. So he is going to be a bit of a projection coming from a lower competition. They're in the group of 5, coming off an ACL tear. Probably won't be able to test out in the offseason draft process. But we already knew he was kind of a really good athlete at 6'3", 193. We saw him play Michigan in 2023. But I mean, with so many questions, it might push him to day 2. I'm probably still going to have a first-round grade on him just because I really, really liked him coming into the year. I don't think a lot has changed. Packers need defense. Minnesota Vikings, they're going to go with Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Mississippi. I don't mind them addressing this. I wouldn't mind taking a swing at corner, but I get it if you don't love the class, or at least love what's available here. I get it if you're the Vikings. And you could definitely go with defensive interior. They really don't have anybody on that defensive interior. They're really just a ton of these edge players, right? Guys like Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Dolphins great, by the way. And you got Dallas Turner in the wings. Who else? They got like Patrick Jones has played really well for him. Didn't he have like a season-ending injury? Can't recall, but Yeah, they really got nothing on the interior. So taking a swing here on a guy who I think sky's the limit, man. Ton of potential. Best football is in front of him. Pick 25. Texans are going with Armand Membu. Offensive lineman at a Mizzou. He's got the build of a guard, so a lot of people will probably peg him as a guard. I think he'd be a good fit for Bobby Slowick's offense. Golly, so many people changed their tune on Bobby Slowick after year one, man. The offense was looking great, and then this past year, not so great. And I feel like he made some adjustments based on how he felt this roster was. And if they could get back to doing some of the things going back doing some of the things that they did in Slowick's first year there, because we could take a quick look. I'm fairly confident they started playing more like man and gap schemes. Could be just talking out my butt, but I definitely thought it was going more in a Sean McVay way rather than that. To be fair, Kyle Shanahan's been doing that as well. And it's just kind of like expanded on top of the outside wide zone blocking scheme. But let's actually just take a look at this. Yeah, for the most part, they were still running more zone. It was about a 60-40, 60-35 split. Okay, so they're still running more of the outside wide zone stuff. And I mean, Membu is the guy for it, an elite athlete. I think he could play tackle. I really do. But I mean, if he's going to the Texans, though, he's probably playing guard. Let's be honest. Los Angeles Rams take Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. Tyler Higbee, maybe he's shot. Maybe you're looking for that other tight end to give you a spark. Kobe Parkinson really looks like just a tight end too. So Loveland could be that guy for you. You could take a swing on the offensive tackle class here. You could go with a corner. I think Jahdae Barron and Benjamin Morrison are phenomenal value at this juncture. But I get it. Loveland, not half bad. Baltimore Ravens take Tyler Booker, and they list him as an offensive lineman, which I think is very interesting, out of Alabama, because I think he's got the build. I think he could play tackle. I really do. And, I mean, if they don't bring back Ronnie Stanley, maybe you give Tyler Booker a shot at tackle, but you're probably drafting him to play guard. Let's be honest. Patrick McCarry or McCarry Patrick, again, I always mix up which is the first and which is the last name, is a free agent. Daniel Falele is fine, but could push to do better than fine. I don't know. I feel like this pick should be tackle. I feel like it should be tackle. Like Donovan Jackson's an interesting guy, maybe. Josh Connerly Jr. still on the board as well. So there's options there. Jack Sawyer going to the Detroit Lions, edge out of Ohio State. He is a Dan Campbell guy, in my opinion. Tough, hard-nosed, 3-down player who I'm curious how the length will be, and I'm curious how his testing will be, but you can't deny the production. It's just been immense for him. All right, Washington Commanders are going to go with Josh Connerly Jr., tackle out of Oregon. So long-term upgrade to the left tackle spot. Aren't the Commanders kind of hoping that that's Brandon Coleman? Oh, let's take a quick look. I think Coleman's been all right. Yeah, he's been all right. He hasn't been bad. I feel like he's probably trending in the right direction. Trying to look at Andrew Wiley, who's also been fine. I mean, if you're doing the, you are taking Connerly here. Maybe the hope is to get Andrew Wiley off his contract, because I think he's in the final year of his contract next year. But I mean, you're not cutting him I don't think you cut him until you make this draft pick. And you could even hold on to him a year as you develop. Maybe you still feel like Brandon Coleman needs more development, though I think he's been pretty all right for a rookie. But I mean, I get it. You want to protect Jaden. That's fair. Buffalo Bills, they go with Nick Gordon. edge out of Texas A&M. Yeah, this is a great fit. It's a great fit. You get to pair him across from Gregory Rousseau, increase the pass rush, but you're also getting a very good run defender in Nick Scorton, especially from a size 6'4", 285, 280. Golly, that's a lot of meat. Philadelphia Eagles, they go with Donovan Jackson, offensive lineman at Ohio State. So just get him there with Stoutland, develop him, and figure out, is he maybe your Mekhi Becton if you don't want to bring him back? Is your Mekhi Becton replacement? Or is he your Lane Johnson heir apparent? Yo, watch out, dude. The offensive tackle hype for Donovan Jackson, I think it's coming. I mean, we should already be there after a stellar college football playoff. And then the last pick in the first round, the Chiefs go with Jahdae Barron, corner out of Texas. I think this is an interesting pick because I'm not sold on the particular scheme fit. I don't hate it though. Because like Spagnuolo, like he loves his versatile corners. And that's what you're getting in Barron, someone who could play inside, out, and probably play as a box safety. I'm not against it, dude. People sleeping on Barron. But let's take a look at this second and third round. We're going to kind of run through it. I'm more intrigued to see what names pop up. But we got Jalen Milroe going to the Cleveland Browns. They get their quarterback, Benjamin Morrison, going to the Giants. Don't hate that one, actually. That's really good value, and they need corners. Tennessee Titans, we're going to take Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. This is a team that needs a wide receiver. Like Nick Westbrook-Ikhine a free agent. D-Hop's gone. Treylon Burks is going to be gone. It's really just Calvin Ridley. So they need a wide receiver. But, if you don't think Matthew Golden, if you're like, what? That's real early for him. This guy's going to be getting first round love. Like, watch out. Maxwell Harrison, corner out of Kentucky, going to the Jags. Kind of curious to see what the head coaching search and GM search, because they finally fired Bulky after he cost them a few of those hires. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what the defense, who the play caller will be there defensively. Kind of depends on who the head coach is. But Harrison, I think, could definitely remind people, because he was a little banged up, played with a nagging shoulder injury. And I think he's going to remind people why, because he was a top 50 prospect for a lot of people coming into the year. I think he's going to remind us of that at the Senior Bowl. Jalen Royals going to the Raiders. I love Royals. Keep the hype coming. I hope he has a phenomenal week next week at the Senior Bowl. Patriots get their tackle of the future in Cameron Williams. A very toolsy guy. Listen, when you just look at the size, strength, movement skills, you see a first rounder. It's just he was a first year starter, and there were highs and there were lows. JT Tuimoloau going to the Bears. They get their edge. Isaiah Bond going to the Saints. That just feels like more of the same, man. Give me a small, fast guy. I think they need more of a girthy type of receiver. The Bears get Jonah Savanea. You're probably playing him at guard. If you're the Bears, you're drafting him here. So I imagine, because didn't they take Will Campbell in this draft? I don't know. But no, they took Josh Simmons. So yeah, no, absolutely. You're playing Savanea at guard. So Simmons is going to be playing tackle. Ariante Ursary, tackle out of Minnesota, going to the Jets. I mean, I get it. Tyron Smith, gone. Morgan Moses, gone. They were never long-term options. Olu Fashanu looked good, but you still got to find that player next to him, and that could be Ursary. Kyle Kennard, edge out of South Carolina, going to the Niners. Niners, I think this is going to be a trench-heavy draft for the Niners. Dallas Cowboys take their running back, because they didn't do it in the first round, and Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. Nick Emanuware, safety out of South Carolina. Because I still think, well, okay, they're essentially not getting, like, listen, with Coach Lou as the new DC, you're going to get a bit more blitzing. You're going to get some man coverage. But he is someone that is pretty versatile. And you never know quite what you're going to get. Typically, it's like a moderate amount of blitzing with some man coverage, but not necessarily. Menuari, I like that. But do they have a center fielder there? Do they think Nick Cross is that guy? Maybe do they bring back Julian Blackmon, who did play this year, beat up, but was on the 1-year deal? I don't know. Fascinating. Falcons go with Jahad Campbell. Why? Are you already out on Troy? Was it Troy Anderson? I don't know. But I mean, the value's good. Maybe this is just another edge player for him. Arizona Cardinals take Mike Green. Golly, should have went higher, man. This is my dude. This is a great pickup, though, for the Cardinals. And I love what the Cardinals done. Because what they opened it up with taking, I think, Kenneth Grant. Yeah, because they said he was out of Kentucky. And then you get Mike Green. Yeah, there you go. I love it. Dolphins go with Gray Zabel. So, bam, there's our guard out of North Dakota State. Great mover as well. So, good fit. Landon Jackson going to the Bengals. They continue to add pieces along that defensive line. Deon Walker, big nose tackle out of Kentucky. Doesn't necessarily have to play in the nose because I feel like he is a bit thin-bodied, thin lower body. Massive human being, though. A lot of it is upper body, though, and he plays really upright. But you get that big body on the defensive line for the Seahawks. Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green is an interesting fit for the Denver Broncos. But I think this is about his range. I really do. Pittsburgh Steelers take Trey Amos, corner out of Mississippi. Could pair him up with Joey Porter Jr., and I love it. Tampa Bay gets their linebacker of the future in Carson Schwessiner. Oh, I'll get that last name down by the end of the Senior Bowl. But this dude's mad fast. Still needs to add some weight to the frame, but golly, super athlete. Green Bay Packers take Princely Umami-Ellen, so they finally get some pass rush after going corner early. It's a good call. Chargers get their tight end here in the second round, and Mason Taylor out of LSU. Solid pick. Xavier Watts, safety out of Notre Dame, going to the Bills. You get a legit difference maker at safety. Maybe they're not satisfied with what they currently got. We haven't seen a ton of Cole Bishop either. But that's a fun pick. All right. We got Jordan Birch going to the Panthers. They went Will Johnson in the first round. This is going to be interesting because he's a versatile body type. Houston Texans take Trey Harris, wide receiver out of Mississippi. That's fine. I think he's going to fall a little bit further because like just injuries, like they've been nagging the last 2 years. So he's going to have that red flag. Jared Ivey, dude, this is a Baltimore Raven if I ever saw one. Versatile body type. 3 down potential. I like it. Detroit Lions, they go with a corner. So you do have Carlton Davis as a free agent. Azariah Thomas, a lot of people like him. I mean, shoot, Alex from Hail Sports thinks he's a first rounder. I'm not quite there yet, but a lot of people like him, man. Washington Commanders, they take Jacob Parrish corner out of Kansas State. I kind of think he's a slot. Because I'm curious to see what his length will be. But he played outside last year, was fantastic. Probably someone that's I'm not giving enough credit to. I have him as a early 4th rounder. Most people have him as a day 2. So maybe that's just on me. Bills do get some meat in the middle with Alfred Collins out of Texas. There we go. Eagles get a pass rusher in Donovan Ezaraku out of Boston College. Charles Grant, offensive tackle / guard out of William & Mary, going to the Chiefs. This might be more of a guard play, though, here. Really good athlete. And now we start the third round. Let's run through this. Let's see what names. Wyatt Milam, dude. I'm surprised he didn't go higher, but hey, man, if you're the Giants, you're like, hell yeah, we'll take it. Gunnar Helm, tight end out of Texas, going to the Chiefs. I wonder why, man. This dude reminds me of Jared Wiley. The Chiefs drafted Jared Wiley. Now, in the third round, they get a guy that reminds me of Jared Wiley. Omar Norman Lott, defensive line, defensive tackle out of Tennessee, going to the Browns. It feels very similar to what they got in Mike Hall out of Ohio State last season. I'm not talking about from like a comp standpoint or anything, but like in terms of the skill set, what situations you're going to use them in. I feel like they're very similar role players. Las Vegas Raiders, Omarion Hampton. If you get him in the third round, Raiders, pat yourself on the back. You did good. And then Darian Porter going to the Patriots. Man, that's kind of fun. This is a super athlete, track star. Didn't play a ton at Iowa State through 6 years. Part of that was because he made the transition from wide receiver to corner. But he's a really good athlete, really good like frame and length. And in the little bit that we saw from him this year, he was making plays on the ball. Jaguars take Emory Jones. They list him as a tackle. I think he might end up being a guard, but it's a guy worth developing, I would say. Just coming off kind of a meh year. Jabbar Muhammad, corner out of Oregon, feels more like a slot player in the NFL, and I feel like the Saints kind of have that with Alontae Taylor. Bears go TJ Sanders, defensive line out of South Carolina. This is I love this pick. You get a 6'4", 290, just big motor, penetrator, but plays strong. He's stout. I like it. Zay Alexander going to the Raiders here. Kind of depends on... Wait, Patrick Graham for the Raiders. His contract came up, right? So he's not coming back. I mean, they could re-sign him, but he's been taking... I know he's been taking interviews for head coaching and even DC role. Did he interview for DC with the Bengals? Regardless, Alexander, I have him more as a day 3 pick. I just don't think he's a stellar athlete. Chris Paul Jr., linebacker out of Mississippi, going to the Panthers. So someone to pair up with Trevor Wallace, who I think had a solid rookie campaign. Dorian Strong, corner out of Virginia Tech, going to the Niners. I'm not that high on him. I think he's more like early day 3. A lot of that has to do, he's got a thin build. Let's see what I put here. Thin build, more of a zone corner. Run defense is just, I think, meh. Kind of got an inconsistent tackling style. I don't think he's got elite speed either. So maybe I'm just lower than most people. Jordan Phillips. I know this is kind of a big, meaty nose tackle out of Maryland, going to the Cowboys here. I haven't checked out the film yet from him. Where are you at? 6'3", 320. Let's see what you did this year. Like he had honestly not a like. He had an okay win rate for a nose tackle. Played 283 snaps in the A gap, and a very low missed tackle rate. So. Okay, I don't mind it. Josiah Stewart going to the Patriots. Tell me this doesn't feel like better Josh Uche. Barrett Carter, linebacker out of Clemson, going to the Cardinals. What did I say, dude? It's just apparent they need help on the front 7. You got Alec Iomanor, wide receiver at Stanford, going to the Commanders. This feels like maybe better De'Ami Brown. Big body, explosive wide receiver that'll win downfield. Colts take Ashton Jelote out of Louisville edge. This feels like a Colts edge player. Welcome to the rotation. Bengals take Denzel Burke. Maybe I'm just lower on him just because it was kind of an all right season from him with one really bad game against Oregon. Granted, I thought he did some good work to kind of redeem himself. And he's still a pretty solid athlete. Got some real bunnies in the shoes. if you know what I mean, hops. And I mean, if they're gonna play with man, because Al Golden played a lot of man at Notre Dame, he's looking for a man corner. That is Burke. Kevin Winston Jr., safety out of Penn State, would be a steal here. I think if he didn't get hurt, we'd be talking about him in running for safety 1. I honestly believe that. We got Shamar Turner, defensive lineman. Again, more of an interior player. Added some more weight this year to play interior full time, and he was kind of mid. I see him as a day 3 pick. I mean, really, if you're the Steelers, are you just trying to do DeMarvin Leal all over again? Tampa Bay gets a good corner here in Quincy Riley out of Louisville. Denver Broncos, they get a big body receiver in Jaden Higgins. Like, you looking to replace Cortland Sutton? Or maybe it's just Sean Payton loves these big possession types. Savion Williams, wide receiver at TCU. Chargers going with another TCU wide receiver. We'll see, but he's like kind of freaky athlete at his size. It's like 6'5", 220. But he's not like a very nuanced route runner or anything. But he was someone that was used as a wildcat quarterback, as a running back there at TCU as well. So he's an interesting player to snag here at the 3rd round. Green Bay Packers. I don't know why you're drafting a guard, but Tate Rowledge is hella solid. Didn't you just get Jordan Morgan? Jaguars. Jaguars. That's right. I said Jaguars. Jaguars. How do you... What is the pronunciation for Jaguars? I'm just going to say Jacksonville. Andre Cisco is a free agent. So this is pretty plausible. I absolutely love Andrew Makuba. Love him. Just released my safety video yesterday. Check it out. Houston Texans get a second running back there to go hand in hand with Joe Mixon, and I love that. Eventually kind of becomes your heir apparent, though I don't think Henderson's like a bell cow guy. But if you're going to get the most out of him, like, he is a guy that you want to give 15 touches to a game. But, I mean, splitting with Mixon, that's just, hella fun. Rams get maybe their quarterback of the future in Jackson Dart? Perhaps. I wonder if we're going to see Quinn Ewers in this draft. Danny Stutzman out of Oklahoma going to the Baltimore Ravens. So they're still kind of trying to fill in that other linebacker spot after Patrick Queen left via free agency. And then we got, there goes Quinn Ewers going to the Jets. This is actually a good spot. I like this spot. I like this. This is a good draft for the Jets, I think. The Saints go with Marcus Bowe. Probably a guard out of Purdue, though I think he could probably play tackle, but I think he's probably a guard in the NFL. And the Saints need offensive line help, in my opinion. Browns get their running back of the future, Quinshon Judkins, which I don't think he's officially declared for the draft yet. Maybe that's changed, but I don't think he has. That'd be a good pickup for the Browns. The Eagles, they're still looking for their wide receiver 3. They get Xavier Restrepo, who's a really good player out of the slot. Braden Swinson, edge out of LSU. This is a guy that me and Alex from Hammer Sports are really high on. Good pickup by the Chiefs. Kobe Bryant, corner out of Kansas. I don't think he's a good fit. Like, Flores, a lot of press. Kobe Bryant, very thin. I don't think that's going to work out. Dolphins, they grab Jordan Farmer, defensive line out of Florida State. He's going to be fun to watch at the Senior Bowl because he's got a lot of tools. He's just still in the process of putting it together, and he had a fine year for a crappy Florida State team. Latham Ransom. Why do the Niners got to keep getting safeties? Like, why? I feel like you got Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa. Those are kind of your guys of the future, right? But they get Ransom. This is the type of safety they normally get. And then with the final pick here, it's Anthony Belton, tackle out of NC State. He's a fun build. Kind of reminds you a little bit of the Sticky Icky and Ikem Ekwonu. And hey, I talked earlier, man. Rams, they might be looking for a tackle of the future, whether it be on the left or right side. But go ahead, let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. As always, till next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.